asking for the MVSers' sake, um, why do we say that Jesus is the center of our faith, and how does that impact our service?
Yeah. Well, I believe that in a Christian confession, um, we that is our starting place. It is because of Jesus that we are called Christians, and um, we believe that it is God's revelation in Jesus Christ that is the good news that we proclaim to the world. There are many things that we can do that Jesus did, which are commendable and beneficial and helpful and worthwhile doing. But in the end, it is not about those things that we do. Um, it is about Jesus whom we follow. Those things find their meaning in Jesus' understanding that he was the inauguration, the revealing of God's purposes in the kingdom that he proclaimed. So we can be involved in many things, and they are part of the good news, but at the heart of the good news is Jesus, who comes to restore God's intent and purposes for creation. And as Christians, we believe that it is in Jesus that we are truly liberated and empowered, equipped for the acts of unselfish service that we do in the world. So it's not about our need as it is about God's intent and design for our lives. We find our vocational purpose, our reason for doing these things that we do in service in the life and ministry, the example of Jesus. So we proclaim Jesus not just as the resolution to some seasonal or temporary physical or material need that people have. We share about Jesus because we believe that Jesus is the one who gives meaning and purpose and direction in people's lives so that they can not just be recipients of acts of charity or goodwill, but that they can themselves become agents and subjects of God's healing and hope in the world. So Jesus is not just the temporary solution to individuals' problems or challenges. He is the resolution to their quest after meaning and purpose and direction in their lives. So in that sense, I see Jesus as the good news who responds to our entire, the totality of our lives, both physical, material, and also spiritual. And in our own person, we lack the capacity because of our bent toward false choices and illusions and wrong choices. We lack the capacity to do those things which are truly freeing and liberating, and what Jesus did for us at the cross and through his resurrection is the liberating event in our lives that allows us to become all that God intends us to be. And so it is for this reason that Jesus must be the center of our faith and the heart of our sharing with others.
Thank you. And the second question is, we profess that, or we emphasize community as the center of our life. Why do we do that, and how does that relate to our service?
As Christians, we believe that God calls us into relationship with himself. But we also believe that we are called into relationship with a new community that God is intending to create in the world. All of us are part of communities that are defined by ethnicity or blood or nationality, race. And those definitions of our identities often are at cross purposes and are the root of all the violence and conflict in our world today. Paul announces in Ephesians and in Colossians that what God is doing is creating a new community that represents God's purposes to break down walls and to bridge the gulf that separates us, whether black or white, or rich or poor, male or female. And when we come into relationship with God through Jesus Christ, we become part of this demonstration to the world of that which God intends and purposes for all of humanity. I believe it was Leslie Newbegin who said that we are called to be a sign, an instrument, and a foretaste of the kingdom in our time. And that is God's purpose, that people can look at the Christian community and see God's intended purpose for all of humanity, that we reflect the kingdom or the reign that God intends. So the concept or the idea of an individual or solo believer is one that is antithetical to what I believe God intends. It is as we engage with each other from the diversity of the backgrounds and opinions, backgrounds we come from, opinions that we hold, in meaningful fellowship and sharing, that we become that foretaste, that demonstration to the world of what God is purposing. And so while it is true that we are each of us called into a personal relationship with God, we can't have that relationship by proxy, whether through parents or grandparents or friends and peers, that each of us is called to a personal encounter with God and relationship with Jesus Christ. That is true. Nevertheless, it is in the context of community that we work out what it means to be in relationship with God. We give meaning and authentication of God's transforming work in us and through us in the context of community. And so being part of a Christian community, whether it's a community that does life together or community that engages in the practices of the church, is critical, because in that we are able to hold each other accountable, and I mean that in the very best sense of the word. To hold somebody accountable is to encourage them to live up to their best ideals of what it means to be a follower of Jesus. And so we provide